here. This storm that has been producing quite a bit of large hail, including a report of baseball-sized hail, now rotating enough to where the National Weather Service in Charleston has now called a tornado warning. Very impressive signature on this storm as it's moving toward downtown Charleston. Everyone in downtown Charleston should be seeking shelter immediately in a tornado-safe place. Large hail coming out of the storm. It's tracking to the east-southeast at 50 miles an hour. If we could extend that to where it went to 50 miles an hour, Hannah, that would be great. I've got meteorologist Hannah Hayes helping me out here. She's going to give us the most info on this storm as it's tracking to the east. I-64 travel into downtown Charleston out of Putnam County not advised right now. This will be reaching the South Charleston area at 5:43 p.m., 5:49 p.m. in Charleston, 5:53 p.m. toward Yeager Airport here, Cole Fork at 5:59 p.m. at 6:13 p.m. at Acup. Again, tornado warning including portions of downtown Charleston right now. You should be in that tornado safe place. Let's talk about where that is. That's a basement if you have one. If no basement's available, a small room near the center of your home away from windows on the first floor. Put as many walls between you and the outside world as you possibly can. Stay in that tornado safe place until we can sound an all clear. Now, this is a radar indicated threat, and again, I got meteorologist Hannah Hayes working on this for us. This tornado warning includes portions of Kanawha County, including downtown Charleston, but the good news is if you're in Pocatalico, you are not in this tornado warning right now. Let's take a look at our wind mode. I know it's a really noisy picture here on our radar, but if we can go over to that product, we can try to see where the rotation is coming out of this storm. So again, the green would be winds very quick.
The National Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia has issued a tornado warning for southeastern Putnam County in western West Virginia, central Kanawha County in central West Virginia, southwestern Clay County in north central West Virginia, northwestern Fayette County in southeastern West Virginia until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 5:31 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over St. Albans, or over Nitro, moving east at 65 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado and baseball-sized hail. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Institute, Charleston, Jefferson, Dunbar, St. Albans, Sissonville, Nitro, South Charleston, Tornado, and Cross Lanes around 5:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Cole Fork around 5:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Pension Elkview around 5:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Pond Gap. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the following counties in West Virginia: Clay, Fayette, Kanawha, and Putnam.
House siding was damaged in hurricane as it was moving through. So it's not just, of course, the tornado threat with this storm. It's also the hail threat in this storm just to the north of Dunbar is where we're seeing that. But of course, the thing that we're worried about right now the most is this tornadic signature, this hook signature that Hannah has circled up for me right near Dunbar. Again, the radar is just too close to get any good idea of the winds within the storm, but as it continues to work further and further to the east, we'll get a better idea. Let's put on another track here as it moves to the east, again at 50 miles an hour. So this is traveling rather quickly at 50 miles an hour. And remember, thunderstorms don't travel along the freeway, so it takes pretty quick at 50 miles an hour to get to places that otherwise it may not be. So South Charleston at 5:41 p.m., you need to be in that tornado safe place now if you're in South Charleston. Charleston, 5:47 p.m. You need to be in that tornado safe place now. Again, that's a basement or the lowest floor of your home. Mobile home's not a good idea. Vehicle's not a good idea. If you're driving, pull off. This is a very populated area, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because if you're traveling along I-64, it won't take you long to find a nearby gas station, convenience store, or restaurant to take shelter in that general area and stay there until we can sound an all clear. Again, tornado warning for central Kanawha County until 6 p.m. and it's continuing to work to the east at 50 miles an hour. 5:58 p.m. and Coal Fork Blunt at 6:06 p.m. and 6:19 p.m. in Amelia. And Hannah, do you know if this is a radar indicated threat? Or is this a
radar indicated rotation?
This is a radar indicated rotation. So what that means is the National Weather Service looking at kind of the sky, not necessarily seeing any ground truth with this storm just yet, but that doesn't mean a tornado won't be able to drop at any second right now. And Hannah's keeping in touch with the folks over at the National Weather Service in Charleston, giving us a look. She's also looking at our Charleston camera to give us an idea of what we're seeing. And I think if you pan that a little bit further to the left, we might be able to get a good look at the wall cloud with this storm, and then we could put that image up behind me. Yeah, that's a great shot right there. Hannah, if you go forward in that scene, I think I do have a camera scene up there.
You do.
We'll put that image right behind me. This is the rotation right here, this lowering right here. We'd be looking for any sort of funnel cloud. The good news is we're not really seeing that at this point, which is definitely what we want to be seeing here. But of course, with this storm, the way it's rotating, the way it's behaving, and the way the environment is today, a tornado could be dropped at any time. And again, Hannah is keeping in touch with our folks at the National Weather Service in Charleston who have the latest info for us a little bit. Meanwhile, we're tracking that storm further to the west out in Scioto County. A couple of more strong storms to talk about. This one again entering into Lewis County, Kentucky, eventually entering into Scioto County, Ohio. This has a little hook signature to it, and you want to notice this orange kind of hue to the severe thunderstorm warning. That would denote a tornado possible as well. If we could look at the wind field on that, and there is a little bit of weak rotation. So Lewis County, Kentucky, we're keeping a close eye on you. Let's go to the Gallia County severe thunderstorm warning now. This is probably the weakest storm of the three within our viewing area, but it is still producing a little bit of hail, up to quarter-size hail. Central portions of Gallia County. Gallipolis would be right here where US 35 is, just to the south of US 35. So if you're in Gallipolis, this would be eventually moving toward you, producing quarter-size hail. Certainly nothing what we saw with the baseball-size hail earlier coming out of the tornado-warned storm. Of course, let's go back to that tornado-warned storm in Charleston. That's the one that we really need to keep an eye on. Again, this really, really wrapped up signature, what we call a hook echo right here. Unfortunately, we're just too close to the radar, Hannah, to really get any good idea of any circulation here. But Hannah's circling up where we're looking ahead, right toward downtown Charleston. So downtown Charleston, again, be in that tornado safe place. That's a basement if you have one. If no basement's available, a small room near the center of your home away from windows. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside world as you possibly can, and bring in type of cushioning, blankets or pillows or any type of cushioning. Remember, this storm's producing baseball-sized hail, so you're talking about shattered windows with this. Even if you're not seeing a tornado out of this, this is a destructive storm moving into the I-79 corridor, the I-64 corridor, the I-77 corridor up toward Pocatalico. Baseball-sized hail possible with this storm. So it's not just the tornado threat that could be destructive. This is going to be destructive with very large hail as well. Again, let's continue to track this from the center of rotation at 6:01 p.m. Coal Fork. Charleston, you should be in that tornado safe place right now, basically right on top of you. The rotation will be on top of you at 5:48 p.m. So you have about 7 minutes. You should be there right now. Blackhawk 5:54, Blunt at 6:10. You have a little bit of time, and we'll see what the National Weather Service decides to do with this as it continues to work to the east, eventually into, let's say, Clay County, into Fayette County if it continues to stay together. This would be taking a track just to the south of I-79. So Clendenin, I think you should be A-OK, and they've just whittled back this box. So let's sound a few all clears. I think the west side of Charleston, you're talking South Charleston, you're talking Dunbar, Cross Lanes. We can sound an all clear for you. Again, Pocatalico, while we can sound an all clear as far as the tornado threat is concerned, there's still very large hail coming down for you up here in the northern half of Kanawha County. I-77 from the Jackson-Kanawha County line all the way down toward Charleston. That blue you're seeing right here that Hannah's showing, that is very, very large hail, and we've had reports of baseball-sized hail associated with this storm. Let's go back to that tornadic threat, though. Again, the rotation just on top of downtown Charleston right now, basically right at the interchange of I-64, I-79, and I-77 here at the really ports of downtown Charleston right here, and it continues to work its way eastward. So again, Cole Fork really should be getting into that tornado safe place now. I want to reiterate where that is. That's a basement if you have one. If no basement's available, a small room near the center of your home, away from windows. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. Cushioning to protect your head because you could be seeing some flying debris with this storm, and stay there till we can sound an all clear. Once we're able to sound an all clear, you can come out of that tornado safe place. And if you're in that tornado safe place, bring your phone in. Bring any type of device in where you can listen to us or you can watch us. And once we sound that all clear for you, again, we will be able to take you out of that tornado safe place. Dunbar again, St. Albans, you can come out of that safe place. This is now a downtown Charleston threat, a Cole Fork threat, eventually over toward the Blunt area, now into eastern portions of Kanawha County where you get into more of that mountainous terrain. Have we had any reports out of this storm, Hannah,
just yet? I'm keeping an eye on it, though. They have not given any updates.
Okay, they've not given any updates on this storm. They have whittled back this box. Again, this tornado warning goes till 6:30 p.m. and this red outline you see to the box, that means it's a radar indicated threat. So the good news is there's no ground truth with this just yet, but that doesn't mean in the future we won't see more ground truth later on. This storm could produce a tornado at any second. So to be cautious, you want to be in that tornado safe place. Downtown Charleston points east. No one should be driving I-79 basically from Clendenin all the way into downtown Charleston. I-77 from Pocatalico all the way into downtown Charleston. And then of course US 60, which goes down the Kanawha River toward the Bell area, toward the Montgomery area, basically from the Marmette area all the way up into downtown Charleston. No one should be traveling that. And by the way, if you're trying to chase this or trying to view this, this is really not the best terrain to do so. This is a very tricky situation where you're surrounded by woods, where you're surrounded by hills and trees and everything like that. So even though this storm doesn't appear to be very wrapped in rain or anything like that, you're not going to be able to see this all too well with the terrain in this area. So the safest thing to do is to get into that tornado safe place until we can sound it all clear. Give us about 5 more minutes into downtown Charleston, and then eventually we will sound that all clear for you. This is crossing now near the Corridor G area as well as it moves into downtown Charleston. State Route 114, like I mentioned earlier, continuing to work its way to the east toward A-Cup right here, Amelia right here, eastern portions of Kanawha County where it's a bit more rural. And that's what we're looking at as far as this storm is concerned. Large hail coming out of this storm as well. Let's take a look at that. This purple you're seeing here, destructive hail crossing State Route 114 right here, right near the Charleston Yeager Airport right here. So again, not a good idea. Kanawha City should be in their tornado safe place as well. Let's take a wide view. Let's go back to some of these other storms that we're looking at because we have damaging storms that are crossing into the WSAZ viewing area. Do want to note a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Scioto County and Lewis County in Kentucky and Ohio. This storm continues to have some weak rotation on it just to the north of Vanceburg as it crosses out of Lewis County, Ohio, and out of Lewis County, Kentucky, and into Adams County, Ohio, into Scioto County, Ohio. Hannah's circling up that circulation again. That red is the wind going toward the radar. The green is the wind going toward the radar. The red is the wind going away from the radar, and it's tracking to the east toward the Portsmouth area. So if you're in the Portsmouth area, got to keep a close eye on that. No tornado warning just yet, but this severe thunderstorm warning denotes a tornado possible, and there's a little notch on that storm, which we would call a hook echo here. Let's move further to the east. We're talking about now Lawrence County, Ohio, Gallia County, Ohio, where it looks like quarter-size hail is coming out of a storm. We also have a new severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Gallia County, pretty much central portions of Meigs County, Jackson County, West Virginia, including Ripley, portions of Wirt County, northern Roane County as well. This would likely be for some damaging wind gusts up to 60, 65 miles an hour. And of course, that continued severe thunderstorm warning as it works out of Gallia County into portions of Mason County. Let's go back to the tornado warning further and further into the south, into portions of Kanawha County, as that does continue until 6 p.m. Now, Hannah, what are you seeing with this storm as you're looking at the radar here?
As I'm taking a look at the radar, Nick, what I'm seeing is pretty much the same thing we've been seeing for a couple of minutes. But what I'm noticing with this tornado warning in Charleston is there's not much of a hook to it anymore. which means, you know, it's not likely is rotating as much anymore. It's really hard to see. It's too close to the radar. But the good news with that is, number one, they haven't said it's a tornado on the ground, so there's really no new updates. I haven't been seeing any damage reports with this as I've been taking a look at the National Weather Service chat. So as this continues to move through Kanawha County, though, of course, staying in your tornado safe spot until we give you that all clear is a good idea, because this storm is still pretty intense either way. I mean, we're still seeing the gusty winds with this storm, the very, very, large hail possible. Large hail and the damaging wind gusts with the heavy rain as well. And as we're taking a look across the other portions of the region, we do have a tornado possible tag on this storm about to come into Portsmouth. Right now, though, as we're taking a look at that rotation here, it is rotating. It's a rotating storm, so I'm going to keep an eye on this one because they have not issued a tornado warning for it yet. But with that tornado possible tag, certainly something to keep an eye on. And as you mentioned, we already do have a couple of more severe thunderstorm warnings across the region. So really just a noisy evening as we're taking a look at the radar so far. As everyone, not everyone's getting rainfall. And if you haven't got any rain yet, you certainly could later this evening. But this is a wider view of what we're seeing just all across the region. Very heavy rain. We've seen damaging hail, damaging wind gusts this evening already. We do still have a couple of hours to go, because just as a reminder, that severe thunderstorm watch still in effect across the entire viewing area until 11 o'clock tonight. So as we're taking a look through the rest of the evening, gonna have to keep an eye out for, again, the whole viewing area under that severe thunderstorm watch to 11. Yeah,
let's go back to the wind velocity on that tornado warning. I did see a pretty interesting signature. Again, this storm is rather close to the radar, so it's not going to be terribly anything too strong, but it looks like we have something down here, right here toward, let's say, south of Cinco, West Virginia, it looks like. Right in there. That red is the wind going away from the radar, and the green is the wind going toward the radar. So that could be something. That could also just be noise. Again, we're very close to the radar, so it's going to be difficult to see anything. Yes. So let's go back to that reflectivity, or the precipitation mode, rather. I do want to sound a few all clears. Downtown Charleston, we can take you out of your safe place now. We can sound an all clear for you. There's that hook signature, though, we're watching. It's right on top of course, I-64, I-77, and US 60, right near the Kanawha River there. And of course, right at that split where you come off of I-64 and you go toward the Bell area is where we're talking about right now for that hook signature, for that rotation. Rutledge, meanwhile, very, very big hail coming out of this. We've had reports of baseball-size hail coming out of this storm, which is very destructive. I know our anchor Taylor Eaton was telling me that they had damage, quite a bit of damage, rather, in the Hurricane area, where cars were dented up, where siding was having holes in it from that hail. And you could expect anything from shattered windshields, shattered glass. Remember, this severe thunderstorm warning, you see that yellow hue to it. That means it's a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. 2-inch in diameter hail, where you're going to be seeing very, very damaging hail coming out of this storm with that report of baseball-sized hail. Right now, that's on top of the Pinch area, right near West Virginia State Route 114. And of course, this is Corridor G coming out of Pinch down into Charleston. And it's just to the north of Cinco, West Virginia. That rotation, meanwhile, to the south and east of downtown Charleston, right now moving to the east at 50 miles an hour. Let's put another track on this, and we'll get you an idea of where this is headed. Again, moving just south of east at 50 miles an hour. So we're getting that track for you, and we'll tell you where you need to be in that tornado safe place as soon as we get that. Basically, Cinco, West Virginia, you want to be there. We're talking about Blunt, West Virginia, reaching your area at 6:01 p.m. A-Cup, West Virginia, 6:06 p.m. Blakely, West Virginia, 6:09 p.m. Crosby, West Virginia, 6:15 p.m. It's in a much more rural area of the state now, as it's crossing out of downtown Charleston into portions of eastern Kanawha County. But still, we're going to stay on this tornado warning until it is over. But again, downtown Charleston, you can come out of that tornado safe place. We can sound an all clear for you. This has moved well to the east, and wow, we just got a big radar update there. This is now well to the east of downtown Charleston, so let's clear that off. Again, we're still seeing very large hail, but Hannah, it looks like the good news is that hook signature that we did see with this storm has started to kind of weaken just a bit.
Yeah, and we still really can't see, the winds, rotating winds as much as we could. If it was a little bit further away from the radar, it's just a little of an inconvenient spot for us. But with that hook signature going away, it is telling us that this storm is likely not not rotating as much, but of course with the hail as well, that could pick up on rotation on the radar. So it's just something to keep an eye on. The hook signature being gone or really lessening up as we go through the rest of the night watching this storm. That is some good news, though, of course, still getting that very heavy rain, gusty winds, I'm sure, and of course that damaging hail like you've already talked about. I am looking for updates from the National Weather Service, not seeing anything just yet as we're taking a look at this storm. They have not said anything new, so I take that as a good sign. They've even trimmed that warning back a little bit, so as we keep an eye on it, looks like they're going to keep continuing to trim that back. We're going to have to wait and see, though.
Yeah, again, they trimmed that box back. This is still till 6 p.m.
Right.
But let's sound a few all clears. Basically, Bell and Montgomery, we can sound an all clear for you. This is well to the east of that. It's well to the east of US 60, and it's basically well to the south of Corridor G. So this is mainly rural portions of Kanawha County. That rotation just to the south of Pinch. But again, Pinch, you're dealing with some very large hail with this storm. And so this storm will continue to cause some damage as it moves into Clay County. Whether or not it remains to be a tornado warning still remains to be seen. Of course, even if it's not a tornado warning, be on the lookout in Clay for very large hail coming out of the storm. Let's go back to the Scioto County storm, the Lewis County, Kentucky storm as well. I want to get kind of an update on what we're seeing in that general area. There's still no tornado warning on that storm, but they're still marking that as a tornado possible. And it looks like we got a weak, bounded weak echo region. And yeah, that's some pretty strong rotation now into southwestern portions of Scioto County. I would not at all be surprised if the National Weather Service in Wilmington, Ohio did decide to put out a tornado warning on that as we move forward. We're going to keep a very close eye on that. Heads up for those of us in far northeastern Lewis County, Kentucky, State Route 8 near the Garrison area of Lewis County, Kentucky. We may be talking about a tornado warning rather soon just to the south of Portsmouth near South Shore, Kentucky. That would be Greenup County, and that would be out of the National Weather Service in Charleston where they'd issue this. This is the kind of border between the National Weather Service in Wilmington up here in Scioto and Lewis counties, and then of course the National Weather Service in Charleston issues warnings for Greenup County. But that's a very strong signature that we're seeing here along the Ohio-Kentucky state line here. That's a bounded weak echo region, kind of where we see a clear zone of no rain, but that's where the air is rushing into the storm and really strengthening that. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, and let's continue to talk about that. Let's go back. Let's talk about that tornado warning now. Again, in eastern Kanawha County, still tracking that, moving to the east into rural portions of the area. Again, this is south of I-79, south of Corridor G at this point, nearing the A-Cup area. And again, even if you're not seeing very strong rotation, you're seeing very destructive hail. This storm has a history of producing very large hail up to golf ball size. We saw egg-size hail over in the Athalia area, a report of that earlier this evening. We saw reports of cars being dented up in Hurricane. We saw video in Taze Valley of very large hail coming down right where US 35 meets I-64 there. And of course, we saw a report of baseball-size hail as this moved into Kanawha County. We see a little bit of a signature here. It might be trying to cycle up. Let's see if we're far enough away from the radar. We're just too close to the radar. The radar is seeing multiple different objects like bugs and insects and things like that, and it's noising up, cluttering up our radar picture, so we're a little bit too close to get a good idea of the wind. But regardless, Hannah, we still could be seeing very strong winds and very large hail out of this, even though we're not seeing quite a strong rotation as we did see earlier.
Yeah, we could, and you know, one thing to note is that this does expire in 4 minutes if they don't extend it, so we do have a couple minutes just to kind of wait it out and see what they're going to do. As we've been mentioning, though, too close to the radar, yes, but as we read the radar, Nick, we notice, you know, we're not seeing that. Oh, there's another update on the radar scan. That's good. So I'm not seeing that hook echo like we were earlier. So that's a little bit of good news, but we are going to have to keep an eye on it since they still have that tornado warning attached to it. As we go through the next 3 minutes, that's when it's set to expire at 6 p.m. So regardless, though, if they expire it or not, this is still a really noisy storm. So still going to have to keep an eye out for those gusty winds, the damaging hail as the storm continues to move off towards the east.
Yeah, let's go back to Scioto County too, just in case they haven't issued a new warning on that. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for this with no indication of a tornado warning just yet. But again, you see that hook signature on this storm. And by the way, this black outline you see to that severe thunderstorm warning, that denotes, the possibility of some very damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour and considerable damage out of this storm. But we're going to keep a close eye on this again as it works east, still showing signs of pretty good rotation on that. If we could go to the, if you can nudge that a little bit further to the west, Hannah, we can try to see, yeah, there's that bounded weak echo region here. Let's go to that wind velocity. I still want to look. There's still pretty good rotation with that green headed toward the radar, the red headed away from the radar. Hannah's circling that up. We'll see what the National Weather Service in Charleston decides to do, because again, this is headed into Greenup County, Kentucky, which would be their county warning area. But that's enough rotation in my book to be something, I should say, where we have to keep a very close eye on the situation. Going back to the tornado warning and the hail threat, again, this hailer is producing quite a bit of strong hail. But let's zoom on out and go back to the tornado warning that is in place now for only about 2 more minutes. And I don't believe they will extend this based on the signatures I've seen, but we're still going to keep a very close eye on this as it does continue to work off to the east toward Clay County. Does have a bit more of a tail to it compared to where we were earlier. But it does look like it's still not as impressive. Do you have new information for me, Hannah, over there?
I don't. They're just issuing the new severe thunderstorm warnings that we've already talked about. They haven't said anything about this tornado warning at all. So I think within the next minute, it probably will expire, as we've already kind of mentioned. Just because if they were going to extend it, I feel like they would have already mentioned that by now.
Right.
So we're going to keep an eye on that just within the next couple of seconds here and see how they're going to handle it. But I mean, again, as we've been saying, even if this gets downgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning, still pretty noisy this evening, as all of these thunderstorms have been. We've had the damaging baseball-sized hail this evening, wind gusts as well, and very heavy rain. So as we go through the rest of the night, just gonna have to keep an eye on these storms, especially the ones like this one that have that hook on there and that the rotating winds as we go through the rest of the evening. That's what we're going to keep an eye on for, and then they've just expired that warning.
Yeah, they have expired that warning, so we're going to go ahead and sound an all clear for everyone in eastern Kanawha County. I still want to mention there is very large hail coming out of this storm, so even if you're going to be out and about, you should remain cautious and probably stay indoors and away from windows. But the tornado threat with this storm is now officially over, so we can sound an all clear for everyone. We're going to watch this storm coming out of Lewis County, Kentucky into Greenup County, Kentucky very closely. We may have to come back on very shortly, but for now, no tornado warnings, so we're going to go ahead and send it back to regular programming here.